I wanted to share how I deal with the feelings of chronic emptiness and boredom. And thank you for your comment. So, it's asking essentially how I deal with the boredom. So, let's get into it. I used to definitely use way worse and more risky coping techniques in the past, which I feel like I have learned from. Which, from what I've learned, is classic and borderline personality disorder, which I have, as well as the ADHD, impulsivity, and the boredom. It kind of feeds one another. For me, distraction is always the first line of defense. If I kind of allow myself to divulge into this boredom and this chronic emptiness, it unfortunately just furthers my anxiety and brings me to this state and space of feeling like if I don't do something intense to alleviate these feelings, it's like I'll just explode or implode, both. Which, as a side note, I feel like it's so important to know like what's going on with you because without knowing, sometimes you can take advice like sitting in silence and listening to your thoughts. Like if I did that, I'd be admitted to a hospital, okay? These feelings are so intense and all consuming. It can bring us to a very negative headspace, which I feel like it's so important. As annoying and as typical as this advice may seem, forcing yourself to go for a walk. I have a dog, for example, so it makes it a lot easier to get out, but really just having that change of scenery and environment can be very impactful, as well as doing it with intent of listening to a podcast you like or YouTube video, whatever it may be, just to distract your mind from what you're currently thinking about at the moment. That can, for example, cause your thought process to be interrupted. Even if you watch a funny video, disrupting that negative thought pattern can immensely change a train of thought or that chronic feeling of boredom, even temporarily. It can be extremely helpful to alleviate some of those feelings. If I can get myself to laugh or make myself laugh, it really helps to temporarily disrupt that thought pattern. Force yourself to paint or do something creative. Put on a good playlist. Feel how you gotta feel, cry, laugh, whatever. Or another great distraction is pursuing a new creative outlet. You can get really cheap supplies and things from the dollar store or from a thrift shop secondhand. It's easy to be creative when you get creative. The last thing I'm going to suggest is something I've been trying to implement because sometimes I feel silly doing it or like I'm being watched. The paranoia is too real. But I legit try singing and dancing, even like when I'm by myself in my place. Forcing movement like that can kind of bring you back into a flow and feeling realigned with your body and bring that vitality back. I feel like when we get into these states of chronic boredom and the feeling of chronic emptiness, our vitality and life source feels like it's kind of gone. But the fact of the matter is that you can bring that vitality back once again, no matter how long you feel it's been gone for. We can do things to cope and enhance our lives, make it easier, more livable, but it really comes down at a foundational level to radical self acceptance.